Sunday. Thanks for listening as always. Hope everybody was on the right side of all the games yesterday. It was a crazy day. Lots of basketball, lots of football. It is the most overwhelming time to bet. If you're betting on all sports, if you like action in the early parts of the day and then middle of the night. So just be careful as you embark here on the Thanksgiving stretch as the college basketball tournaments will pick up. Just a lot going on. So what happened yesterday that just jumps out at me, if you're watching college football, then we'll get to the NFL games, is the Texas Georgia game, the line movement in that game, and then Georgia absolutely bulldozing Texas yesterday. What was just a sight to be seen. I thought the line was off to begin with. I talked about it with J Mart on Friday, and then the line drops like 2.5, 3 points before the game starts in a big time game, which just usually doesn't happen. And then it goes the other way. So Georgia beats the crap out of them. That was wild. But if you didn't watch the UConn BYU game, I'm telling you, you have to go back and watch at least the last 12, 13 minutes of that second half. This DeBonsa character, I know it seems like we get a new superstar every year in basketball, but this guy is unbelievable. He brings BYU all the way back. UConn holds on, but he just put on a show last night. So that's what caught my eye. Texas A&M came back. Ridiculous. I think they're down 27 at halftime. They somehow cover. They somehow come back and win. They certainly don't cover. And besides that, we got Oklahoma beat Alabama. That was, what a wild game that was. Man, Alabama just, Ty Simpson's draft stock, definitely took a hit yesterday afternoon. And we'll see. They got to figure out if they can still get in. These last couple weeks of college football is back to like elimination games. So that part's fun. Even though we got 12 teams, they'll still make the playoffs. All right, I'm rambling. Time for football today. Commanders are playing the Dolphins in Spain. As always, best of luck to you if you're betting international games. Yeah, I got nothing for you. It feels like the Dolphins have all the momentum and Washington has no momentum. But then when you really think about it, the Dolphins have momentum because they beat the Bills last week. I don't know if that's really momentum. Washington season's pretty much over. Dolphin season's pretty much over. It's not great. I would lean towards the Dolphins just because Washington's defense has been atrocious. It seems like they just, all the juju from last year is just gone. They've gotten their ass absolutely handed to them the past 2 weeks. Now Dan Quinn, the head coach, is going to take over. Can't get much worse, but the Dolphins are very surgical. I don't know. Like I said, I never can bet these games. So if you're betting the international games, best of luck to you. But I don't really have much. I don't really have much on that game. I really don't. So, all right. I like 4-ish, maybe 5 games. We'll see by the time it's time to put the bets in. But as always, I'll go through the games I'm staying away from first. And you got to start with this Giants-Packers game because the Packers, wow, what is going on with Green Bay? I called it last time where I got a lot of those prop bets right on Monday night because I had no faith in the Packers offense. Now, the Packers defense was great, but it was more opportunistic. They forced a turnover. Still, they played great, but now they're facing Jameis Winston and the wild card that is Jameis Winston. I have no idea. Packers favored by 7. Total's only 42.5. Reflection on the Packers offense just hasn't been doing anything, but the Giants defense is terrible. I would lean towards the over in this game, but it's going to be a stay away ultimately because the Packers just have to show me. I've said it. I think I said this like 3 weeks ago. I really don't believe in the Packers team. I want to reevaluate them when they play the Lions on Thanksgiving, and I can watch the entire game. It's a big time game, see what the game plan is, all that good stuff, because I know they're going to, that's going to be a game they're going to absolutely max out on. But yeah, I'm starting to think the Packers are going to miss the playoffs. This feels like a game where they have to win, but at the same time, the NFL's weird and the Packers are sliding. So I'm going to stay away from it, and I'm going to stay away from the Bucks and the Bills because the Bucks, they're getting 6 points. They're headed to Buffalo. If you made me bet, I would take Buffalo, but I'm not going to bet, Baker could get the backdoor cover. The weather's probably not going to be great, but I just don't like the vibes here from Tampa Bay. They had New England at home last week, and they got beat up front. I didn't like that at all. They're still beat up. I think they're in a midseason swoon. They might be able to turn on at the end. I believe they have the Rams next week on Sunday Night Football. they're in a tough spot here, and Buffalo's coming off. I pretty much called it last week, but I did bet it, so it doesn't count. But I had a feeling the Bills were in for a tough game going down to Miami. I think they just come back and they get right on offense. This is a get right on offense game because Tampa's defense is just not very good. I think Josh Allen has a big game. I would take the Bills, but I'm not going to bet 6 points. It's just a little too many. But I'd be happy to put the Bills in a bunch of teasers today if you were inclined to do so. Staying away from the Squealers and the Bungles here. What a ugly game this is. It feels like whoever loses is, you can't say they're done based on the way the standings are, but vibes-wise, like the Bengals cannot be in a worse situation vibes-wise. The way they've lost to the Jets and the Bears, then they have a bye week. I don't know what kind of energy they're going to have going into Pittsburgh. Flacco's been there a million times. And then Pittsburgh's coming off. What a gut-wrenching performance if you thought Pittsburgh had a chance to win the Super Bowl. If you're like a diehard Squealer fan, you're watching that game against the Chargers and you're just like, what the hell is this? This is unbelievably terrible. Just Aaron Rodgers was awful. Does he have a bounce-back game? I mean, it is Cincinnati. The number's 48.5. A huge number for a Steelers-Bengals game notoriously, but it makes sense in this matchup. I'll stay away from it and just root for chaos. Oh, Lord, I don't like this game at all, so I'm staying away. But it might want to take the Titans, but that goes against every rule that's been created here in 2025 for sports betting because you can't just bet the Titans. Like, just because you think it's a good idea, there's just other things to do with your life. That's what I keep saying to myself. Like, there's just other things to do with your life, Ryan. You do not need to bet the Titans today. But all signs I feel like are pointing towards the Titans. So if you made me do it, they're getting 5.5 at home against this Texans team that just absolutely broke my balls last week when they came back and beat the Jaguars, as the Jaguars really didn't deserve to be up that much to begin with, but whatever. Texans came back. They have a lot of momentum. No CJ Stroud. It's a big rivalry game, but the Titans just feel like they're dead in the water. The defense might score 14 by themselves for the Texans, so I'll stay away from it, but I wouldn't be shocked if Titans win this game. I don't really know. Whatever. This game is just an ugly game. And then when I said I had 4-ish games, the 5th game that I'm debating right now is the Chargers because I feel like I'm walking into a trap, but I might just take the Chargers anyway. They're -3 at Jacksonville. Jacksonville, I'm not getting them right very much this year, but I just cannot believe that they're going to really make the playoffs and make a run after blowing that game to the Texans last week. That just doesn't feel like a team that's serious. Chargers, I believe it's their 4th time now going to the East Coast for a 1:00 game. The Jags, the thing that makes me nervous and the reason why I haven't locked it in yet is the Jags are going to do a pretty good job of getting after the quarterback. And that's the one thing the Chargers can't protect. What if it's an ugly game? It's only 43.5, but I'm leaning hard towards the Chargers. I'll put out my bets, obviously, here in a few minutes and let you know if I decide to go Chargers. All right, so the 2 1:00 games that I really like. Start with the Vikings. I love the Vikings today. It's -3 at home against the Bears. You can't get me off this game no matter what. I watched the whole game last week, obviously, Ravens-Vikings, and the Vikings beat themselves in so many different ways. I think they get those things corrected. I don't really care if J.J. McCarthy's hands bothering him because he's not throwing the ball great anyway. So it can't be much worse. And maybe now we'll do some shorter passes and run the football. The Bears cannot just keep getting by like this. It's just the perfect regression spot. The Bears are not making the playoffs. I got them falling short. I think the Vikings have a better chance to make the playoffs than the Bears. I still am not going to give up on Minnesota. There's just too much talent there. I wouldn't be surprised if they beat the crap out of Chicago today. It is a rematch from opening night where the Vikings did get outplayed for the first 3 quarters, but they came back and won. The defense today is going to get after Chicago. That's going to be my big play. I'll have the under in the Bears points to cover myself because the number's 47.5. So whatever the Bears total is, I'll certainly go under that. And I'm going to take the Vikings. Like the Vikings a lot today. Panthers are playing the Falcons. I think this number is way off. I'm going Carolina, getting 3.5 at Atlanta. There's so many different reasons why I like Carolina. Let's start with why I hate Atlanta, because that would be the top 3 reasons. The Falcons should never be favored, it feels like, by more than 3 points ever. All their games are just ridiculous, come down to the very end. They're coming back from wherever the hell they were last week in Germany. That doesn't seem like a good idea. And they're just a dumpster fire. They've gone in the wrong direction. They thought they were close enough to get over the hump this year. They're just not. They lost too many close games. I love Carolina. The reason I love Carolina for Carolina's sake is they beat Atlanta last week of the season in Atlanta. So they got good vibes going back there. And I had the Saints last week because I thought the Saints really, it was just a trap game. It just was. I still think the Panthers have a better chance to make the playoffs than the Bears. I think the Panthers are a decent football team. They're a competent football team. They're not going to beat themselves today, and the Falcons will beat themselves. I like the Panthers outright, but I'll definitely take the 3.5 points. So those are my two 1 o'clock bets. All right, 4 o'clock. Ooh. All right. I have no idea what's going to happen in the San Francisco Arizona game. These NFC West games are always tricky. Anytime Arizona plays, that feels like it's tricky. They get absolutely demolished by Seattle last week. It was like really, really bad. Now they're back home. They're getting 3.5. Brock Purdy's back. So I really just don't know what to make of that. Brock Purdy could. Yeah, I mean, I think he's better than Mac Jones, but Mac Jones was pretty good. It's a Niners defense that struggles against elite quarterbacks, but now we get Arizona's passing game, which is not much of a threat, but 3.5 at home. I'm just going to stay away from it. I'm not going to stay away from the Seahawks game, though. I love Seattle. I really do. I think Seattle is going to be great. I'm not betting against Seattle in a lot of situations, but this week I am betting against Seattle because the Rams are going to beat them. I think the Rams are going to beat them convincingly. I'm surprised it's only 3 points, frankly, because Sam Darnold's last time in LA was against his Rams team in the wild card round last year as a Viking. Rams beat the crap out of him. Darnold was bad. I think he sees some ghosts of that from last year, and he has some trouble today. I think the Rams are playing. It's just a good spot for the Rams. They're playing really well. Everybody's praising Seattle. I think Seattle's going to do better as an underdog. I'm surprised it was only 3. If it goes up to 3.5, you buy down the 3. I thought the line should have been 4, but Seattle's number 1 in all these rankings. And I love Seattle too. I really do, but I just don't like them today. I think on the other side of the ball, so besides the fact that I think the Rams are going to be able to get some pressure on Darnold, and I'm not sold on Seattle's running game. I need to see it a little bit more. It's on the other side where Stafford is just too good right now. So if you're betting against Stafford, I think you're going to be on the wrong side of it. I feel strongly about it. I am going to go Rams today. And I don't like the Broncos. I feel it's funny because I love Seattle, but I'm going with the Rams. And now I'm leading with, I don't like the Broncos, but I'm going with the Broncos because I think it's a good spot for them. It's too many points. 4.5 points is way too many. The Broncos have won all these games in a row. They're not playing good, but the vibes are good. I think you have to look at it from that perspective. When you win all these games in a row, now the Chiefs are coming. The Broncos are the underdog at home, and they match up pretty well with the Chiefs. Like they almost beat them last year, had a field goal that was blocked at the end of the game. So why are the Chiefs really favored by 4.5 points? I don't get it. The Broncos defense is too good. The total's only 44.5. So they're basically telling you that they don't think the Broncos can score at all. And I just don't see it. I think the Broncos will be able to make a couple big plays. Maybe they get the benefit of the whistle and a couple pass interference calls because they're going to take some shots. Maybe the Chiefs win, but 4.5 points, way too many. I'm going to take the Broncos. And then late tonight, Lions-Eagles. Begging you to take the Eagles. I guess so, after the way the Eagles played on Monday night. I'll have some time to look into it, but obviously that is must-see TV as the Eagles are playing the Lions. Forgot to mention even Maryland beat Marquette. I was so excited watching that game yesterday. I feel like I was just going to – I ended up rambling for 2 minutes to start the pod anyway. I thought it was going to turn into 10 if I talked about Maryland, but what a great win for Maryland. It's like halfway through that game and Payne goes down. You're like, all right, well, I guess we'll this isn't great. We're up by all those points. Then Marquette comes back, and I think it was 53-44. I just remember thinking, like, do I really have to think about, like, next season under Buzz? Because I'm not mad at him, but, like, damn, this team not very good. And then I don't know what the hell got into him to finish the game, but I'm all sorts of happy about it, so that was fun. All right, say that to say that time to finish up with the Ravens as they go to the Cleveland in what is ultimately like just when you think you got the NFL figured out, the Browns will I can't even say it. You know why? I can't even make the joke. Thanks for the voice for the crack there because there's no way that this game is going to be a high scoring game. The Ravens are going to pound the ball. I pray to God we just do not turn the ball over. I cannot see any other way that this thing goes ugly unless there's a bunch of fumbles. Like outside of that, Lamar's too accurate. Cleveland's too incompetent on offense. Everything's going in the right direction. Like I genuinely am always the skeptic when it comes to the Ravens and try to figure out from the other team's perspective what's the game plan. This is the worst quarterback. I cannot believe Dylan Gabriel's a quarterback. I mean, I just really can't believe it. So I don't expect Junkins to just run the ball right down our throat in a cold weather, ugly, windy game when we know they're going to run the ball. And yeah, there's no weapons on the outside, so they got to protect the football. I'd like to see some creative formations today. Today would be a great day to be like, whoa, that's interesting. Let's put some things on film for some other teams to have to look at so we don't look so predictable. If we had some things that we wanted to try out, maybe some different personnel packages, I would love for that to be that type of game. Ravens -7.5. Totals, 38.5 in a Lamar Jackson game seems like, they're obviously telling you it's going to be windy and Cleveland can't score. But it is the NFL. If you're betting on the Ravens, just do yourself a favor and do it in a tease and take them on the money line and do a parlay with something else because 7.5 points, it's just weird. So let's run away from Myles Garrett and short, quick passes, nothing crazy, and we'll get out of there with a win. Good luck to whatever you guys are going to do. I think I got it all right. I didn't miss any games. Yeah. All right. Have a great day. Good luck, like I said, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Yeah, break it all down. Sorry for my voice. It's high school basketball starting, so there goes the voice. That's part of it. So, all right, see you guys.